everyone, I'm Stitching Scotty and welcome to my video about counted cross stitch. This is one of my Scotty's, Striker, and we'd like to welcome you. Glad you stopped by to see what you could see. I inadvertently deleted the first part of my video, so we're doing this after the fact. Yeah. Winston will not be joining us today as he's now covered in mud. He's been digging a hole. He's my other Scotty. But anyway, I would like to welcome everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today is Flosstube number 249. It's March the 7th, I think. Yes, March the 7th, and it's 2026. I have a finish. I have several FFOs. The FFO fever bit me today, so that was good. I just want to thank everyone for their prayers for Ralph, and if you continue to pray, because today's been a really rough day for him, which is why I was just finishing so I could be in the room next to him and you know, kind of see what's going on or hear what's going on. Yeah. But anyway, I would like to add my free pattern right here before I forget it, and it's on Instagram, and it's also on her website for those of you, and it's called Sweet Easter, and I will insert it here. It's just such a cute pattern. I didn't show the whole pattern, the whole graph. I just showed the picture and part of the graph, just so you could kind of get like a little view. So here is my book of days. I really, really enjoy doing the book of days, and I've got it all decked out for St. Patrick's Day. You can tell that I'm Scotch Irish. So I just love March. It's one of my favorite months, and I do like it. Not that I drink green beer or anything, because I don't, but you know, if you're Scottish and you're Irish, you just celebrate. And I'm doing my one thread a day. I'm 2 days behind. I had festive fobs twice, and I haven't worked on it yet today. So I want to work on it later this evening. And I'm going to do 2 threads instead of just one. I worked on several projects, which I will show you those this week. And then I started out the month. On the first day, I had a finish. And I'm just really, really excited, because I didn't think this would ever get finished. And I bet, well, my daughter doesn't know she's getting it. This is for my youngest daughter, Amelia. And it's by Manny to Donna. It's ABC School Sampler. Isn't that cute? Okay, it's on Grace Notes, and it fabric, and it's Kenneth 32 count. Now the pattern was done on, I want to say 28 count. No, it was done on 32 count, but it was a week's dye work, so I bet that the weave was just a little bit looser, because I had a really hard time when I did my back stitching for the letters. Yeah, and I changed it a little bit. Instead of these numbers up here, instead of these numbers, what I did was I put her name. So this is my finish, and it says Mrs. Tucker, and then it says school, you know, here on school, and I've got the alphabet and the ABCs and the apples, and I just thought this was just so cute. And I used one thread over, let's see, no, I used 2 strands over, no, I used 1 strand over 2 threads, because it's 36 count. And, well, no, it's 32 count. I'm sorry. And then I did the 1 strand back stitch. But, and I graphed the Mrs. Tucker myself, just from looking at the word school. But I liked the little apples in the tree, and just so cute. I hope she'll like this, and I'll probably take this one to the framer, because it is to celebrate her master's degree in elementary education. So I'm excited about that. All right. So that's my finish. I just had the one finish, and to me it was a big one because there was a lot of stitching in that. And the back stitching took a long time. It really did, because I had to stitch over things. So I was tickled about that. All right, now I had 4 fully finished objects, and the first one has been sitting around for quite some time, and it was a new finish that I had never done before. It's an easel finish. And I went to the Friendstitch Zoom retreat, and I don't have a picture of the pattern, I don't think. No, I don't. But she gave us a pattern. They always give you a pattern that's, you know, a pre-stitch kind of thing. And then you have a finishing video. And Monica, I can't pronounce her last name, so I'm so sorry. But anyway, she's the one that did a really good finishing video for us. And I'm doing this on, or I did this on 28 count, no, 32 count. And it was just something I had in my stash. And I'm using their finishing materials, and I misplaced the cardboard, so I used my comic board and glued a couple together. But this is my finish, and I'm using Union Lady Dots trim, and this is the easel that we made. And so when you store it, you just store it flat like this. So I just thought that was, ooh, there's a string on it. I just thought that was really cute. And then you just sit it on the table. Yeah. And it doesn't take a lot of fabric, you know, it really doesn't. And it did take a lot of, I just cut out 4 pieces of comic board, and then 1 piece of, they had given us a piece of cardboard to use. And she had a special way that you folded it so you didn't have like any kind of, you had a nice finish. See, it's a solid finish, and you didn't have to sew. That was really good. Now she did sew on her chenille in the video. I glued mine. Eileen's glue is wonderful, and I used the clear glue, even though the other one dries clear. And I used 2 strands over 2, and all the call for threads, and I think it was DMC. But isn't that cute? So cute. All right, so that's finish number 1. Okay, and if you ever get a chance to go to the Zoom Friendstitch retreats, especially if you're a newer stitcher, these are really great. And she always has some kind of finishing technique in those videos, so you can learn, you know, something. And then it's a collaboration between Heart and Hand and Bent Creek. All right, okay, the next thing I finished was from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. It's called Christmas Goodies. This has been a whip for quite some time. It ended up to be more stitching than I thought. My printer was kind of bleh when I finished it, or when I printed this. So it was like, oh my goodness. But the graph was good. It was, they had it in black and white, and they also had it in color. And I'm not good to my PDFs. I mistreat them something terrible. So, but anyway, I did this one on 28 count, even though they did theirs on 32 count, just because my fabric was lavender, and it was just so pretty. It was a 28 count lavender witchel. And this is milk, cookies, and Christmas goodies. And I made my hanger with just rickrack, and I glued all my rickrack on, and then I finished it with some peppermint. But I just thought that was so cute, and it's 2 strands over 2 threads. So cute. I love those chocolate chip cookies. There was a lot more stitching in this than I thought, but their patterns are just really cute. I mean, they really are. So if you've not stitched one of their patterns, you need to try it, because they're nice. Okay, then next, I finally picked, I mean, these things were laying on my ironing board, and I was like, you know, I need to get this stuff off. And now I've piled a bunch more stuff on my ironing board, so it's like, oh boy, there'll be another finishing palooza pretty soon. This is called a Classic Haunt, and I've loved this pattern ever since I saw it. It's by Hands On Design, Kathy Haberman, and I kind of finished mine about the way she finished hers. I did mine though, she did hers on 32 count Orchid Belfast, and I did mine on 28 count, and it's a, well, I don't know, it's just a lavender, but I just thought this was so cute. And I glued this bow on there that I tied, and I put a little spider up top, a little spider, it was a button, and I just ripped the, you know, I cut the back off of it. And the trim I used, I bought at Hobby Lobby. It was a fall, I want to say 1/8 inch trim, and I just took it off that. It had some green and some gold and browns in there, and I thought, well, this is pretty good. So that's my finish, and I used 2 strands over 2, and then here is Boo fabric. I thought that was just perfect for that. So that's my finish. One of these days it'll be on a Halloween tree if I ever get around to getting enough stuff on it. All right, then my last finish, which was really my first one that I started with, because I've been looking at this little box for forever, and you know, I was like, paint it, don't paint it. And then I thought, well, if I paint it, then what if it doesn't match, you know? And this was the only box the size I had. Now this is on 40 count, and I don't know what fabric it's on. I want to say Confederate gray, but I don't know if that's it or not. I've had it for so long, but and I don't have the pattern anymore. But this is Spirits and Spells by Brenda Gervais, and I put some sandy gold from Lady Dot Creates pom-poms around it. I cut out my own oval. I just measured it, and then I made little lines and connected the lines, and then I folded. What I did was I went down the middle, and then I folded it in half, and that's how I made my piece. And I just left it brown, just plain, just because I thought, well, this is primitive, you know, it's prim. So, but isn't that witch spooky? Yes. I just think she's so cute, and it's 1 strand over 2 threads on 40 counts. Just so pretty. All right, and here's the trim that I used. Lady Dot Creates Sandy Gold, and there it is. Sorry about the glare, but we're outside. Okay, and those are my finishes. Yay! All right, now let's talk whips or works in progress. Okay, so that gives me 5 fully finished objects for the year. I've not been doing too good on that. This time last year I probably had like 10, but it is what it is, you know. The finishing bug has to bite me, and it just didn't bite this year, and so far. But I'm doing the FFO challenge with Jen Quilter, and she's one of the Too Tall Stitchers. And if y'all haven't watched their videos, oh, they're so good. Her mom Carol and she are they make videos, and she asks like interesting questions, and she makes graphs, and they stitch and they knit, and they do all kinds of things. So it's very interesting, and you need to go watch their videos. And they have patterns, you know, different patterns, and they also quilt. And they start out with a beautiful quilt. They don't really go in depth with a lot of quilting or anything. It's mostly just cross stitch. But I highly recommend the Too Tall Stitchers video. And their retreat's coming up in May, and I can't wait. I hope I get to go this year. Last year I got so sick, and I got up there and I couldn't go. I was like, oh dear. So anyway, hashtag FFO challenge. So join us, and you know, it's really pepped me up about doing the fully finished objects, which is FFO. Okay, so let's talk whips now. Most of my whips are from the temperature stitching. Okay, the first one I have is, and you're gonna laugh, I'm a little bit behind the game here. I'm stitching Brenda Gervais, January, wordplay, and it's on 36 count winter brew, R&R fabric, and I'm using Gentle Arts floss, which is the call for flosses. And I didn't get a lot done because, like I said, it's temperature stitching. And what temperature stitching is, I found out about it through Pam from Just Keep Stitching, Pam and Steph. And it's hashtag temperature stitching. Now, there's two kinds of temperature stitching. There's one where you stitch these big graphs, you know, like Stitching Mommy has. Now, if you hadn't watched her video, you need to watch Stitching Mommy, because she designs all these different graphs and they're really cute. And she stitches 1/1 on a lot of things, I'm telling you. And unusual patterns too. But anyway, getting back to the point. Temperature stitching, I do that in connection with the 1 stitch a day that Susan from Sweet Wing Studio does. And that's where that's how I choose my 1 stitch a day, or 1 thread a day. I mean, not 1 stitch a day, good grief. But my 1 thread a day, okay? That's how I choose it. So I look at the low temperature the day before, and like it was, I think the low yesterday was 56. Yeah, we're in South Carolina. I'm so sorry for y'all that have snow out in Colorado. I'm so sorry. Oh my goodness. But hopefully it'll get warm for you guys soon. But anyway, so I number 0 through 9, and I pick a project that I would like to work on during the month. And every time that number is called, I pick it out that day and I stitch at least 1 thread a day. But usually it's more, you know. But my 1 thread a day, it completes the Susan from Sweet Wing Studios challenge. This came through her Patreon, and it's so much fun. And if you hadn't joined her Patreon, you need to join it. Susan from Sweet Wing Studio, it's a really good deal. She gives you like a free pattern, the whole 9 yards. But anyway, you write the name of the thread that you used. So when I stitched on January wordplay, I used Gentle Arts Walnut. And I stitched the word mittens and scarf. And I think that's all I stitched that day. Oh no, and then I started on the little snowman, his hat, and then started on the snowman. And you can tell I've got my thread just right there. But this is on, like I said, 36 count R&R winter brew, and I'm using 1 strand over 2 threads. And I may be behind, but it's gonna get stitched, and I'll be ahead of the game for next year when January rolls around. But I love the wordplay pillows, and I've just been wanting to stitch those for the longest time. And I kept saying, yeah, I'm gonna start that, I'm gonna start that. Yeah, and I just hadn't done it. So now I'm doing it, and I'm excited. So that's something that I've been doing. Okay, then also on the temperature stitching and the 1 stitch a day, I can't remember what the number was for my hometown. I need to write it down. But this is my hometown from Annie Beez Folk Art. And I got this at the Cross Stitch Extravaganza at Quilter Station a couple of years ago when I went. And that's where I met Renee, Prairie Stitcher. And if you haven't watched Renee's videos, you need to watch them. She has some beautiful, beautiful stitching. Beautiful stitching. And she has finished this, so you can actually see it. So when I saw hers, I'm like, oh, gotta do mine. But I'm working on this border that goes down the side, and before you saw it, I just had the green, and I've added some, oh, look at this thread. Okay, that comes of just leaving your thread just every which way. Okay, and so well, nothing like some wind. Okay, so I added some, oh goodness, hang on. Sorry about that. Okay, now that's better. Didn't expect that wind to come up. But anyway, this is on 36 count Dolly Madison linen by Needle and Flax, and I used 1 strand of DMC and Classic Colorworks. and the stitch count's 127 by 98. And I started on the left side at the top, and I've just been going down here, and I added the flowers also with Manor Red, and the DMC I used was 936. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so I need to get working on that. So I'm hoping that the temperature will be the right temperature so I can stitch more on that. So far we've not done too good on that. It's only been one day, and I really would like to stitch some more on it because it's so pretty. Then the next thing I stitched on was for the stitch along that I'm stitching with Niecy Lynn and Patty Penn. And Patty Penn's already finished hers, and several other people I've noticed are stitching this also. They don't comment on the sale or stitch along, but it's 1776 Liberty Eagle, and this is by Screendoor Needleworks. So I started with the eagle, and I'm on, oh dear, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm on 40 counts, and I want to say this is Hog Bristle by Fox and Rabbit, but I'm not sure. I may be wrong. Anyway, I'm using Tudor silks that I got from the attic, because I bought this pattern from the attic when I first saw it, and I stitched more of the vine, and I've still not located my dark color for the wing of the eagle yet. And the head doesn't show up very well on the camera, but it does show up in person. If I tilt it, maybe you can see it a little bit. Oh dear, barking dog. That would be Striker. But it's one strand over 2 threads. And hopefully I'll get this done. Yeah. All right, nothing like nature, birds and barking dogs. Okay, and then the next thing I'm stitching on is a market release, and I got mine early because I went to, I want to say Spring Mingle last year with Lindy Stitches, and I love watching Lindy Stitches, Stephanie's Nashville Needlework Market previews. They are so funny, and her husband Jason is a hoot, I'm telling you. And so you need to go watch her videos when she does those. And if you haven't picked out any market picks, you know, market's this weekend, and I have 2 friends that are there, and I know they're just having the most fun. The last time I talked to them, they were in line in the fabric line. And you know that's a long one. So I told him, I said, be sure and get so-and-so fabric for me. And I'm not going to tell you because you'll want it. Okay, but anyway, this Beez Got Knees. And this is by Kathy Haberman from Hands On Design. And I don't know what was wrong with me. I must have been asleep when I stitched on this, because there were so many stitches that were only half crosses. Yeah. And I had to go back and cross them. Not in just one color, but in the white, in the yellow, in the dark brown, in the blues. Yeah, I mean, what in the world? So I spent most of yesterday, now this one just got a lick and a promise on the ironing thing, as you can tell, and plus it wrinkled a little bit coming downstairs. But this is what I've got done. I finally got the green all the way around with the temperature stitching. But yesterday I just worked, which is why I didn't do my festive fobs yesterday. I said, I am not leaving this without my stitches all crossed. And if y'all see something, please let me know. But I was like, oh my goodness. So I had to go back and make sure all my stitches were crossed. This is on a piece of Lugana, and it's 32 counts. And I'm using all the call for threads, but it's so pretty. So hopefully I'll get this done. It's got some more, it's got like 4, I've got to fill in these leaves, and it's got 4, and add some more flowers and leaves in here, and it's got 4 little things that go out here, and then it makes like a pincushion. And then the flowers on the top are on perforated paper. Yes. So this is what I've got done. And this is on 32 count platinum Lugane. It's so pretty. So that's my stitching for the week. And yeah, I know this is not a very long video, but it's starting to get a little noisy because we have a private airport down the road from us, and I hear the planes going, and then the wind chimes because of the wind. But I hope y'all have better weather than what you're having if it's bad. And I'm just thankful that it's nice here, and I just thank you for the prayers and things for my husband and myself. And you know, I just hope you see something you like, and hopefully we'll get back to normal a little bit. And I didn't do an Etsy shop this week because it's market weekend, and I just thought, you know, everybody's focused on market, so I just wanted to leave it like that. But until next time, remember, if you don't start it, you can't finish it. Bye-bye. Hi everyone, welcome to Flosstube number 249. If you notice, the sun is not as bright as it was. I deleted the first intro of my video by mistake. So welcome to Stitching Scotty's cross stitch video, and this is one of my Scotty Striker. Winston won't be joining us today. Oh, let's do this again. Hi everyone, welcome to video Flosstube Okay, let's